Hello, I'm Mark Tucker.
Hey there, I'm Alan Furstenberg. We are Two Voice Devs.
Two Voice Devs. Hey, Alan.
Hey, Mark, how's it going?
Doing fine. Lots of AI stuff going on.
Lots and lots of AI stuff going on. So to kind of give a framework for this one, this is a little different than usual. After the episodes that I recorded with Noble Ackerson, Mark and I have kind of been playing around with LangChain because it's pretty fun. You know, it does some interesting stuff. And we recorded some of these sessions. So what you're going to see is us really taking very, very tentative explorations and trying to figure out what in the world I'm doing with this thing.
We got to start from scratch at some point, right?
Got to start somewhere, but I think also it gives this flavor of when you don't even know what you don't know. How do you play around with it? How do you start diving in, and what do you learn? So I think it's interesting on a number of levels, and so we hope you enjoy this. So yeah, in 27 lines, this is what a chatbot looks like using LangChain. So I don't know what you're seeing right now, but you're probably seeing Emacs.
Yes, I am seeing Emacs.
Okay, so that's literally it. The first line. Okay, so a bunch of imports, importing stuff. Some of it is importing standard Node.js stuff to do multiple read lines. Load in configuration. Instantiate an OpenAI model. Set up what they call a buffer memory so that it records everything so that it can play it back as part of the next prompt.
Okay. So it's stateful. All right.
Create a conversation chain, which is a standard chain that gets included. And this is what manages the fact that it will include what comes from the buffer, what comes from the memory into each message that goes to the LLM.
So it's passing a context along every time.
Right.
Okay.
But exactly. Set up some user prompts, enter a loop, prompt the user for something, take what they said, add it to the input as part of the conversation chain, get the response back, and print that as part of the next prompt.
Huh.
And if we run it, we get an error message. Hang on, because I messed up. What's a comment again?
Huh.
Hi there.
Hi there. How can I help you?
You can tell me who you are. And now it decides to sit there for no obvious reason.
Maybe it's
Here we go.
there you go. It's hit some latency there.
My name is AI and I'm a virtual assistant. I'm here to help you with your day-to-day tasks. What can I do for you?
So all of this stuff is coming from OpenAI.
Do you know who I am?
I'm sorry, I don't know who you are. Would you like to tell me?
Yeah.
So the return prompts, everything. The only thing that was hard-coded was the initial hi.
Sure, I'm Al.
Nice to meet you all. Is there anything else I can do for you?
The only thing that was hard-coded was the initial hi. Everything else is a follow-up from what I've said. And I mistyped my own name. Not bad.
Way to go.
I'm sorry, I meant to say that my name was Alan.
Nice to meet you, Alan. Is there anything else I can do for you?
Do you know what time it is?
Interesting.
Sure, it is currently 4:22 p.m.
It is not 4:22 p.m.
Ask it what area code are you? It's not even 22, but
What time zone is that in?
That is in the Eastern Standard Time Zone.
it's definitely not 4:22 p.m. You're like more like 8:05 p.m., right?
Yeah. Do you remember who I am?
Yes, I remember that you are Alan. Is there anything else I can help you with?
Sure. What time will it be 10 minutes from now?
It will be 4:32 p.m. in 10 minutes.
So two things here. You can see it remembered that my name was Alan, even after a couple of loops of the conversation. And it did get correct that 10 minutes after 4:22 is 4:32. We'll ignore the fact that it didn't know what time it was, because it really has no way to know what time it is.
Yeah. What if you tell it what time it is now and then ask in a minute what time it is?
Probably not, because it doesn't actually have a concept of the passage of time.
Oh, that's true. There's no timer or anything going on.
Right.
Mm,
But I certainly
true.
could, in theory, I suppose, I could build something that included in each message to it the current time is. So, create either as part of a conversation chain or as an additional chain or as part of the template builder. Because one of the things that it has a lot of, here, let me show you this. So this is another one that has a template and inserts values into the template and uses that as the prompt. So it builds a prompt from the template. So I could have a template that always had the current time.
So even though you're not saying anything, you're always instructing the LLM what time it is. So,
Right.
And so then when you ask, if you were asked something that was time, sensitive, like how many days or how many hours is it until a certain time, and it would be able to probably figure that out.
Exactly. Well,
if you always give
maybe.
it a concept of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, that is pretty I guess remarkable that and so they've figured out all the different interfaces to like OpenAI and stuff. So you don't have to figure that out. You
exactly.
just have to import that in. And so now they've made that a JavaScript library as well, that would be helpful actually.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. I'm still trying to wrap my head around all the terminology and all of the elements that go into it, but it's pretty cool. One of the kind of motivators behind it is that you can build your own chains, and your own chains don't have to call AI components. They can call anything. And the templates don't necessarily have to come from, constants that are built in. They can come from anywhere, just built into the chain. So, if you've got a template that you're going to pull in from a spreadsheet and add, or a template that you pull in from a doc somewhere and add data from a spreadsheet, put that all into your prompt, combine it with something that the user has just said, send it to the AI, take what it takes back and puts it into a spreadsheet again and reads the answer from the spreadsheet. All of that can be done as part of a chain.
Yeah, I did see the example like where it could do like a Google search and then come back with the answer and then parse out the answer, use that for a follow-up query. And
yeah. One of the examples, they have a chain called LangChain, if I remember correctly. And what it does is it's tuned for math questions. So if you ask it a math question, the prompt behind it is along the lines of, if you can answer this question directly, give me the answer. If you can't, give me a Python program that will solve it. It gets it back. If it's a Python program, it runs the Python program. And all of that is hidden in a chain.
Oh, interesting. So it's dynamically generating code and then running the code and then using that to, okay, that blew my mind a little bit.
Yeah, well, again, you also have to assume that it's going to generate code that actually works. So
yeah,
I've seen some examples and some of them are pretty good. There are other examples where there are people who are building chains that you've taught it an API and you'll say, if you can answer this using the API, return the API code. and it's a pseudo code, but
Yeah.
you then parse the response to know which call needs to be made and with what parameters, and then make the call in those parameters.
Wow. Okay.
And that's something that's actually one of the things that I've wanted to play with, and I've been trying to play with ChatGPT. And someone said, yeah, ChatGPT is not going to do it. Just play with GPT itself and use LangChain. And when I looked at why, I'm like, oh, because LangChain can just do it.
Yeah.
You just build the chain that does it, and it will.
So ChatGPT has like a layer of instructions on top of OpenAI that puts some boundaries on what it can do, or
Yeah, basically a lot of what ChatGPT is, and a lot of what Bing with GPT is a very, very large prompt that try to put guardrails on it. So you've seen people find ways to get around those guardrails or print out what the guardrails are.
yeah, I did see that article about that. I was like, whoa. It's like,
And really, that's what a lot of these LLM tools are. That's what a lot of the chains are, for example, is just a big honkin' prompt, or actually a big honkin' template that it sticks your data into, that it
for
uses
GPT.
as a prompt for GPT.
Yeah.
Or some other LLM model. And that's the kind of brilliancy of what a lot of people are producing, is it's all about the prompt.
It's all how you ask it.
It's all how you
What-
ask it. And
Yeah.
increasingly they're taking that prompt, putting it into a module, and then making that module just an API call. So all of the complicated work is now in a module.
Yeah, which means that it's reproducible. It's like reusable, right? And then it's
Exactly.
all right.
And LangChain facilitates that. I mean, that's literally, it seems like what LangChain is all about. It's got a simple template model so that you can build those templates, so you can build those prompts. The chain prototypes, the chain class prototypes, I think, are really just about taking a prompt and executing it.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to wrap my head around. And I may be wrong, but that sure seems like what most of it is doing.
Yeah, that does seems like you're in the right ballpark there.
So that's what I'm spending my spare time. And the biggest problem is I'd love to hook this up to voice systems. It's too slow.
Oh, yeah.
There's no guarantee that we get it back in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I'll figure something out. But it's interesting to play with.
Yeah, I have a coworker that wrote an iPhone app that it's children's storytelling. Like, so you could give it some information and it will tell you a children's story using ChatGPT. So that's kind of interesting.
I feel like that's the sort of thing that I could probably write in about 10 minutes using LangChain.
Oh yeah, probably. It seems fairly a simple prompt with whatever the template would be, whatever the
right.
A children's story. Some instructions don't include swear words, blah blah blah. Or talk about these subjects, or
right.
And yeah, no, that's pretty cool. I'll have to tell him. I wonder if he knows about LangChain. It wouldn't help him in that case, but you could do a web application, right? Or or something. Very cool.
That was interesting. At least I hope folks found it interesting.
Yeah, so we'd like to know what you're doing, kind of what your discoveries have been, and kind of what your progress is on discovering this new world of AI and how it applies to what you're doing and how it could apply to voice. So let us know.
All the usual suspects, Twitter, LinkedIn, comments below. Find us on the Alexa Slack channels. Love to hear what you're doing. Love to kind of start sharing this kind of information so that we all learn more. And we'll talk about this another time, I'm sure, on Two Voice Devs.
Two Voice Devs. Take care, Alan.
Take care, Mark.